The conflict between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF has been going on for nearly 2 years. CGTN's Anastasia Wawero takes a look at efforts to restore peace this year and what exactly led to the violation of a ceasefire agreed upon in March by the opposing sides.
A truce reached in March between the Ethiopian government and the rebel Tigrayan People's Liberation Front was driven by the need to allow aid deliveries to the northern region of the country. The ceasefire had been described by the government as indefinite. It took effect immediately. The temporary halt to fighting allowed large aid convoys to enter Tigray after accusations of a blockade preventing aid from reaching the region. The rival parties then stated in June that they had appointed representatives for peace talks. However, the agreement was soon shattered last month when fighting resumed between the warring parties. Both the Ethiopian government and the TPLF forces have accused each other of reigniting the war. From Tigray, reports emerged during the ceasefire that there was ongoing forced recruitment by rebels, with those resisting conscription facing imprisonment. Witnesses in the region also said that they had seen increased movement of government troops and militia just before the renewed clashes erupted. Fighting has been reported in the south of Tigray, with the government also having carried out airstrikes in Tigray's capital, Mekele. There are also reports of an assault by rebels in the west, in an area contested by both Tigray and Amhara. The TPLF has accused Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of centralizing power. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian premier says TPLF is seeking to reassert dominance over Ethiopia. Anastasia Waweru, CGTN.
All right, let's now bring in Samuel Getachew, an independent journalist and a political analyst based in Addis Ababa. He joins us live via Skype. Samuel, welcome to the program. Now, the UN Security Council is today set to discuss the situation in Tigray. What would it take to achieve a win-win situation for the rival sides?
Well, there has to be trust between both sides. They mistrust each other. The Ethiopian government is insisting by the proclamation of parliament that the TPLF is a terrorist organization, and the TPLF is making a slew of accusations against the Ethiopian government in Addis Ababa. But there has to be some kind of trust that needs to be built, and there has to be a global player to bring this to the table. And then the Ethiopian government has been saying that it should be the African Union. The TPLF government, the regional government in Mekele, has been saying it should be the retiring president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, who should play a role. But now they seem to be agreeing that it should be the African Union, which is a welcome addition. But there is also mistrust between both sides. The Ethiopian side is insisting they also have to be disarmed before any negotiation moves forward, as explained, as tweeted by a state minister of peace earlier today.
All right, Samuel, in light of what you just said, an AU-led peace process seems to be the route accepted by both sides. If Addis Ababa confirms its willingness for an immediate ceasefire, how can it be made to hold?
Well, again, I go back to what I said. There has to be trust. There has to be an understanding that this conflict, which has been going on for almost 2 years, has affected millions of Ethiopians. There's a displacement of millions of Ethiopians everywhere in the country, and the UN is saying famine is coming back to this country. It's becoming its reality. And there's also, according to some researchers, up to or even more than 500,000 people have died. So between both sides, there has to be an understanding that this conflict is really touching the core of the country. There has to be some kind of understanding that this war has to end before more people are affected. And this seems to be where the conflict is headed now, when the TPLF is saying they would side with the Ethiopian government and also go with the African Union to settle their differences. But again, the mistrust between both sides is really, really, really overwhelming. And if there is any chance for peace, I think this is a down payment that needs to be paid by both sides if they're going to negotiate and come to the table.
Indeed. Samuel Getachew, thank you for speaking to us. Samuel Getachew speaking to us live via Zoom from Addis Ababa.